All right, we are live.
Live. Hey, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the VCR Gaming Podcast. I am one of your hosts, Matthew, and sitting somewhere in the hellhole that we call the swamp is my other host, Matthew. How are you, Matthew?
I'm doing all right. Matthew, I like how we're adding an extra syllable to that now.
Yeah, I'm trying to church it up a little,
True. So how you doing, man?
Man, I'm here, It is what it is. How are
Pretty
you, man?
much. You may get like angry Zuby tonight because it's been a shit day, and then I was talking to you earlier this morning about going to visit this I hate to call it a retro game store because it was at the flea market. So
Oh, yeah.
I wouldn't really call it a game store. I guess it's people
A
selling
vendor?
a vendor. Yeah, yeah.
Vendor, a flea
And
market vendor. I think
and
that's the official political term.
and my wife found Mario Kart Double Dash there, and I'm like, and she, she wouldn't tell me what the price of it was, so I like rushed down there as quick as I could. I texted you, called you, actually,
Yeah.
and I'm like, oh my god, they got Mario Kart Double Dash. They've got a whole bunch of GameCube games and Wii and PS2. And I go down there. First of all, he wanted $50 for Mario Kart, and I quickly looked on eBay to see if that was even a fair price. And from what I'm seeing on eBay, it's going for about 30 to 35.
That sounds
And
about right, yeah.
and the guy wouldn't go down any lower. And every single other game was nothing but sports shit. Like,
Dude, you had me so stoked when you called me. You're like, "Oh my god." You were like a little kid that like couldn't even get words. You're like, "Oh my god, video
I
games,
know.
lots, wife, Mario Kart, going." I'm like, "All right, dude, text me, call me, call me, let me know what's up." And then you're like, "Nah, this dude sucks."
Yeah, it was.
No.
I was so disappointed too, and because like I'm looking there and I'm looking and I'm looking and I look some more, and it's just all fucking Madden NFL bullshit. I mean, granted, it wasn't everything wasn't a sports game there, but there was a shit ton of Guitar Hero, um, shit ton of Wii shovelware shit that you usually
Mm.
find, and God, just bullshit. And then I saw he had a bunch of NES and Super Nintendo games as well, and it was literally all trash. It was like it was the kind of games that you used to ignore when you go to rent every Friday.
Yeah, the ones that were always in stock,
Yeah, the
the
kind
ones
that
you knew you could get.
oh yeah, yeah, and you just friggin' be like, yeah, fuck this shit. And dude, and the guy was even selling consoles too, but I didn't even dare to ask how much some of them were because they literally look like consoles you picked from the garbage. They were
Like
like dirty as fuck.
like if it was like a portable, like the hinges were like falling apart when you opened it
Yeah,
up and shit. Yeah,
yeah.
that's not good.
I saw a 64 there, and I was so tempted to ask, but it was so dusty, and it looked so old and cruddy, and I'm like, I don't even want to risk if this thing works.
You know, absolutely. But I will tell you though that if you were gonna ever chance it on one, a 64 is like the most durable system ever created. Like,
Is it?
yeah, like cockroaches will be playing it after the apocalypse, for real.
Even more so than like the Super?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, the Super isn't. It's some of the later ones, like they call the one chip, where they have one chip instead
Yeah.
of three for everything, PPU and all that. Some of those are pretty solid, but yeah, the 64 is a literal fucking tank. The only way you're gonna screw it up is like if you get in there and solder shit, dude. Like for real. You
Oh
could
shit.
drop it, you can kick it, you can get it dirty. I've seen them where they've been wet and then dried out. Fine. Like that doesn't mean go turn it on and throw it in the water, kids. Don't do that.
Oh, don't throw it in the water.
No.
Okay.
Uh-uh. So Mario Kart Double Dash on price charting is $41, and I actually found on eBay right now the special edition, which I didn't even know existed. I think I want it shipped for 39. So fuck that guy.
Yeah, fuck that. And then, oh, and I know this is gaming, but I also found a vendor that was selling a shit ton of Magic cards too, and I got a little excited. And
A flea
unfortunately,
market vendor.
yeah,
Okay.
and unfortunately, it was nothing but shit cards, like all type of shit that I wipe my ass with and
You
throw
sound
away.
surprised by this.
I
This
mean,
surprised you, Matt?
well, no, and the guy didn't really know anything about Magic, and when you get people like that,
Right.
Think of it with video games. When people don't know what they have, there might be some good shit hidden in there. And unfortunately, that was not the case with the cards. So.
Yeah, not when it's like they're straight up selling Magic cards or they're straight up selling video games. Like they pretty much have researched that stuff. Like you got to find like the old lady that's like trying to like clear out house. You know what I mean? And she just has like a bunch of shit.
And this guy was similar. Like he had no idea what it was, what any of the cards were. So.
Oh, damn. Okay.
Yeah, but it was just all bullshit.
They were just shit.
And
okay,
and plus he did have like 5 cases that held 5,000 cards each, and I had the kids and wife with me, so I only got to really look through about 1,000 cards. So I didn't technically get to look through everything, so there could still be some shit in there, but I would have to spend hours to do it. And I'm not
so that's the other extreme, right, of the flea market. There's 3. There's the people that you get steals from because they don't know what they have and they just want it gone. You got the vendors that are overcharging for everything, and then you got the guy that like this who probably somebody told him, hey, those cards are worth money and brought them there, but probably. it's all the garbage. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, we got somebody in the chat here saying your audio sounds a little low on the Twitch stream.
Well, hopefully it sounds better because I did turn it up, and it looks like we just got a new subscriber. Not a subscriber, but someone who followed me. I heard the little noise.
Oh, nice. We're popular. We got 1 new subscriber.
Well,
one new follower.
1 new follower, yeah.
1 new follower.
It's going there. It's going. We're on the up and up now. But yeah, so how has your weekend been?
Pretty interesting. The kid is he's in karate, as you know. I don't know if I mentioned that on the show. Maybe I have.
I don't. Maybe.
Yeah, I don't know. So he's in karate, and they did like a parents' night out thing on Friday.
That's cool.
Yeah, it was cool. It was like 3 hours, and they did like a Nerf war. They bought a shitload of Nerf guns, and like the kids just had a massive Nerf war. So that was cool. So we didn't know what to do, the wife and I. So we went and got some food, and then went back home and stared at each other until it was time to pick him up. So yeah, so that was pretty crazy. We cleaned up the garage, man. We cleaned up my wife and I, mostly my wife. I'll give her the most credit for this because she has done so much. Like she's so motivated. Like I don't know about you, Matt, but like I have in my head like these things I want to get done, and then like then you and I don't mean like work or it's like that closet is fucking jam packed, and it's like I'm gonna get that done before winter is over, but you never find the time or the motivation. Dude, my wife she's gone through every single part of this freaking house. And all we had left was a tiny bit of stuff in the garage and the game room closet. And we cleared all that shit out. Our house is completely purged. There's nothing we don't need in the house right now.
Holy shit.
Fucking phenomenal. I don't think this has ever happened.
Can I hire her to come over? Like,
I know.
Dude, I get so overwhelmed with that shit. I'll literally start one little area, like the hallway closet or some shit. And then I finish that, and then I go to another part, and I'm like, yeah, okay, fuck this.
Dude, I get it, man. Absolutely. Like, same exact way. Freaking, so we did all that, and so that's kind of nice now, and kind of clean the house. And what else did we do? I'm trying to think. Oh, I found a shitload of DVDs, dude. Like
your DVDs?
I forgot how many. We used to buy DVDs. Like we used to be poor and bored. So like
bro.
Yeah, like on Friday night we'd be, cruising the $5 bin or something at Walmart, and we would pick out like a movie or two and go home and watch them, and this is, you're talking 10, 13 years ago, something like that. Her and I would go do that. So we came across a box of, like 100 or maybe even more, I don't even know, DVDs. And, I'm like, oh, this movie's badass. So that was kind of cool. It's not gaming related, but it's still a fun thing to find that you forgot you had.
Yeah, man. No, we did that a couple years ago. We found like our DVD collection, and we had so many. We got rid of a lot too, but there's still a lot we keep. A lot of the main ones I've kept are, series like Rocky, Godfather, Lord of the Rings. And I have
you don't throw that shit out, even if it is standard def.
Oh yeah, and a lot of martial arts movies that are even hard to find to download too. that
Right.
are going to be some of the ones that, weren't really popular, but they're really fun to watch. Dude, you just brought up a good point about garages that, so, and, we're relatively young in terms of the owning the house era and all that stuff.
Right.
How the fuck do garages get so goddamn dirty every year? It's like about 2 times a year I have to do a major purge of my garage. Yeah, do you have to do that too?
My garage seems to be a literal, actual dump. I'm pretty sure. Like, yeah. Oh, dude. Like, we just did it just now. Like, we clean our house. We clean our garage out. Like, yeah, multiple times a year, dude. Multiple, and you'll find the weirdest shit that you didn't even know you ever had.
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
No, okay, so I'm not the only one. At least it probably happens to everybody.
I'm sure.
But yeah, so you found some DVDs there. What else have you been doing?
So that was cool. So gaming related, I did find Grandma's Boy. I've been looking for that
shit.
DVD. Yeah, so that is gaming related, kind of. It's really good. So I was looking for that. So that's fun. What else did we do, man? I mean, it was just a complete weekend. You and I played some games.
Yeah, we did.
We'll probably get into that in just a few minutes, actually. So that was kind of cool. We did that Friday night.
Was it? Yeah, it was Friday night, wasn't it?
Yeah, Friday night. Yeah, I think you tried to reach out to me last night, but I was balls deep in cleaning closet, so I missed your text. I think I got back to you after you probably passed out.
Yeah. Like, if you don't respond to me within 15, 20 minutes, I'm like, I'm going to go read a book, and then I pass out in 5 minutes.
Yeah, right. You're probably like, oh, this motherfucker ghosted me, and you you fucking unfollow me on everything.
Yeah, multiple times.
It's been 5 minutes. Fuck this guy. Fuck this guy.
Pretty much.
Shit. Yeah, I'm trying to think, dude. I guess that's about it. Just a bunch of nothing this weekend. I mean, I'm pretty stoked that you and we played quite a bit of games on Friday night. That was a nice change of pace.
Yeah,
I played and finished a game tonight. This afternoon. While the podcast was delayed, so I made good gaming use of that time. Yeah. So. You want to, I'll tell you what, man, why don't we, before we get into what we're playing and what we're watching and all that, I'm just going to hint a little bit later on in the show, we are going to talk about a genre that was born in the late 90s. So everybody watch out.
Born in the late 90s?
Born? Yeah, probably, or mid 90s.
I would say like early 90s or like late 80s.
No, nothing in the late 80s, dude. Okay. 90s. We'll say 90s for argument's sake. There's no way there was one in the 80s. I'm Googling.
Hold on, I'm looking up Wolfenstein because that was like the first one. Castle Wolfenstein 1981.
80?
Oh, wait, hold on. Was that
That's
first
not,
person, though?
No,
that wasn't first person, no. That was, hold on. Wolfenstein 3D 1992. Okay, so yeah.
92. Okay, so 90s. 90s. Okay, so anyway, so that's tonight's episode. We are going to get into some 90s, something the 90s spawned that even the new age hipster kids, the millennials, still play. So, and they can thank the 90s for that. So there you go. You're welcome.
That is true.
Yeah, it is. All right. Go ahead, Matt. Why don't you go first? What have you been playing, reading, thinking about?
So it's going to be relatively quick. Still playing Xenoblade Chronicles 2. I only probably dedicated about an hour into it this week. Mm-hmm. And I got to a point. I guess this is spoilers, really. So I had a quest that I had to build a ship to actually like leave the island I was at, which I say island, but it was like more like a freaking continent. And I was so excited. I'm like, yeah, I finally get my first vehicle in the game. I'm like 11, 12 hours into the game, and I got my first vehicle. And you don't even get to fucking do anything with the ship. It's just a cutscene, something happens, and then the ship crashes. And I'm like, what the fuck?
What a tease, man.
I mean, it's interesting what's going on in the game where it's where it crashed and all that, but I'm just sort of like oh my god, this is just fucking bullshit. But yeah,
but playing 1 or 2 hours here or there is not going to get you anywhere in that game, bro. I gotta say.
I know it's not, but
You got to buckle down. You got to forget your family. You got to forget about your job. You got to call out all week and be halfway through that game.
I know. Oh god, it'll probably take me more than a week. It'll probably take me like a month or two.
I need you to be a complete dreg on society, Matt. That's what I'm looking for here.
I'm gonna try. I'll try to be a piece of shit. So I'll work on being a piece of shit. So
it's not easy being a complete piece of shit, Matt.
No, it's really not.
Got to work for it.
Yeah, pretty much. So other than that, like I said, I only played about an hour. So when we were actually gaming on Friday night, your wife was playing Yoshi's Island in the background, and it really made me want to play it. Like,
you thought that was a ringtone?
Yeah, I thought it was a ringtone because I heard the crying Mario.
Yeah.
And
that'd be the worst ringtone ever.
It would be. Oh my
god. The crying Mario terrible. From Yoshi's Island?
Yeah. I'd probably want to kill myself for it. But so I was playing I played that, what was it, like Saturday night, and then a little bit Sunday morning, and then I only got up to World 2, and then I started playing Super Mario RPG as well, and I'm already like 1/4 through of the way of the game. I'm like about to get the second star. I mean, there's 7 stars, and it may sound like, oh, I'm not that far into it, but like once you get the second star, then the 3rd, 4th, and 5th are pretty fast, and then it slows down a little bit after getting the 6th, and then finally the 7th star. But
gotcha.
But yeah, so I've been playing.
So it's not an even linear progression for getting the stars. There's different gaps in between them and shit, essentially.
Well, I mean, it's all a linear game. And
no. I mean, like, there's not an equal amount of time or game time between each one. Like, there's yeah.
No, it's not like that. But so I played that. I played a lot of it this morning, and then the last thing I've been playing is something that you finally talked me into, and that's Fortnite.
Jesus fucking Christ, and it's only free.
I know. Free 99. I have a hard time playing free games, all right?
Free doll hairs.
Yeah, it's
not even freemium, it's free. Well, I mean, there is freemium to it, but you can play the shit out of it.
Yeah, it's so I guess some of my initial thoughts of the game were, it was at first, I will be honest, at first, like the first couple games we played, I'm like, this is just like fucking PUBG. I don't really care about it. I don't see the...
You stop it.
I don't see the big deal about it. And then the more we played it, the more I did start to like it. I'm almost liking it more than PUBG in the fact that the games are much quicker. They're not
so
as slow.
I played PUBG last night. I played 2 rounds of it. I think I like Fortnite better. I think I'm with you on that.
Yeah, and it's and it also feels less buggy too than PUBG.
Oh, it's much more polished. Now, granted, they started with a real game. They didn't build it from the ground up. The only thing that's beta about that is the actual Battle Royale mode and the map. Obviously, the map is, but yeah, it came from a more polished game, and that's a way larger, more experienced developer. You've got Epic Games, so you would expect that to be. And the crazy thing is that it is free. PUBG still wants $30 from you,
True. So you and I played, and yeah, you did hear me scream like a little bitch at times. Where, see, I get really into the game, and then, someone will sneak up on us, kill us, and I'm just like, oh my god.
Yeah, Matt's not good with jump scares, y'all. He didn't live that jump scare life.
No.
And then what did you think about the building mechanic? I know you didn't build too much. We messed around a little bit, but do you think it adds to the game or it complicates it?
It definitely adds to it. It's I don't know how much it actually adds to it though, since I feel like I need to play a little bit more to to get it and understand it. I have seen gameplay footage of people building traps and stuff and building, and sort of like what we saw where people build like little houses and stuff to protect themselves.
So watch some of like the you can't say pros because it's not like, Major League Gaming sport or anything yet. But watch some of like the YouTube videos of the guys that stream this shit all day or whatever. No, dude, you wouldn't be able to hit them because they build so fast and protect themselves and bury them. Like, oh yeah. And what's crazy is like on the PC, it's a lot easier because you can just tap the Q key and then 1 through 5 or whatever, or 4 is whatever you want to build. So you can be fairly fluent and quick. Dude,
Okay.
people build like that on the game, on the controller, on the consoles too, though. And you have to literally toggle through them. Like you have to scroll through them to get to the one you want to use, and they're just as good, which that really blows my mind.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, I mean, I get fucking annihilated. I played that mostly on Xbox so far, and I mean, you know, a lot of times like I'll just get annihilated by a dude that's good at building.
Yeah.
So it's pretty interesting. So what else about it? What do you think of the weapons and how the weapon system works and all that?
Well, I mean, the weapons seem very similar. Well, I wouldn't say similar to PUBG. I mean, there's the same type of class of weapons, but I guess the rarity levels make it better. I think you were saying it does more damage, like the rare weapon you get.
Yeah, so yeah, it'll do more damage, or it'll have upgrades or things like that. It's not like PUBG where you can put add-ons, like you can use this 4x scope and this front grip or anything. No, it's the luck of the draw, which I mean PUBG is too, but you're not going to change things out on the guns. Like if you want a better gun or better attachments, or you got to find a whole nother one that has it.
Okay. Yeah, and I do like the simplicity of the guns too, and I was mentioning that to you on Friday where even though PUBG, is pretty simple in the guns, the names of the guns are way easier to remember in Fortnite because I can't be bothered to remember, what actual gun names are. Cause,
right, you've got like assault rifle, pump shotgun, pistol. Yeah, yeah.
No, but I wanted to ask you, how do you feel about the differences between PC and console on it? What do you feel is actually better?
Yeah, I'm so glad that you brought that up. I've actually been thinking about this since we played. So the last time I played it on PC when I first got my gaming rig set up.
Yeah.
And I had been playing it on PlayStation at the time. That's the first console I installed it on. And I actually played a bit on there on the PlayStation. I installed it on the PC, and it literally felt like I could either or to me. It didn't matter. Like the only difference was I was using mouse and keyboard, which I'm not as fluent with. But if I picked up the Xbox controller on the PC, it would feel literally no fucking different or look any different. Now, when you and I played, they must have done some updates or something. It is a lot better than the console version, especially the Xbox version. I think the Xbox is probably the worst performing version of this game.
Really?
Yeah, it's way choppier looking. I don't even think it hits the full 30 frames per second on console. I think it's supposed to hit 60, but there's no way because I have the fucking on the PC. I have the FPS counter running, and it's maxed out. It's capped, and it was so smooth when you and I were playing it. It almost gave me like feelings, like it felt so good, like it blew my mind. Like I don't want to go back to the console. One thing I don't like. I don't like this at all, and it doesn't do this on the console, is you notice when you drop out of the bus to drop in and glide in and all that, the map is way more blurry on the PC. Really? They blurred it out way more. Like you can see, obviously it's way far down on the ground when you first jump out. On the console, you can see the map and make out what things are much better than you can on the PC.
I'll probably have to check that out.
I think it's to make it harder. I think it's to make it to kind of level the playing field because everybody's obviously looking at it on really nice monitors with maxed out frame rates and all that. I don't know if it's intentional or what, and it does do it on the console, but not to that extent. Like I found it a lot harder to see where people were dropping in at or where they were at on the ground already fighting. Like you almost couldn't even see it on the PC. And I thought that was kind of interesting. Yeah, I don't like that. Otherwise, I think that's probably the best version of that game to play is the PC one. We will have to do duos because we don't really know anybody else to play it on PC with, so that kind of sucks. But we could get squads going on the console, and that's really fun to do. So, that's kind of my take on it.
I'd be willing to download it on the PS4 just to try it out on there too.
Yeah, I think you should. Although, your results may vary with your PS4 Pro. So, Richie Rich. So,
Richie Rich over here.
Yeah. But yeah, we should do that, man. We should do that like this week. just so you can get more Fortnite experience, and so you can check it out on the console, and you could like report back or something.
Yeah, definitely. So,
Cool.
the only other thing I've been up to is I recently watched that Cloverfield Paradox movie that
Okay.
came out on Netflix. Have you seen the other Cloverfield movies?
I saw the very first one.
Okay, so you never saw 10 Cloverfield Lane. So these
No.
movies are, I guess they describe them as anthology movies where they're loosely related to each other.
Okay.
And this movie was technically the first movie of the I guess Cloverfield universe.
Timeline.
Yeah,
Yeah.
timeline, whatever.
Right.
And it's set in space. They're on a space station. It's very cliche where, they're stuck in space and they got to survive. And it was an enjoyable movie. I never would have paid for it to go see it in theaters.
You described the movie Aliens to me just now.
It was
The movie Alien,
it
like
was
for real.
like that, but with no aliens.
Okay.
And it was, I don't know, it was enjoyable for what it was, but probably my biggest complaint about the movie is there'd be something bad happening and the characters wouldn't react like normal human beings. Like someone's arm is getting chopped off and they'd be like, "Oh, hey, my arm's chopped off. Oh, well."
Oh shit, dude.
Yeah. And it was just very like it took you completely out of the movie. Like, wait, what the fuck? That's not how a person would react. Like, I don't give a shit who you are. Your arm's getting chopped off. You're gonna be like, holy fuck.
Is it worth watching though? Like, should I check it out?
If you're a fan of the Cloverfield universe, yeah. If not,
Okay.
then I mean, if you want something to watch that's on in the background, yeah, sure.
I need to see 10 Cloverfield Lane, which I heard actually got pretty good reviews.
Oh my god, dude, that movie was really fucking good.
Yeah, I should check that out, and then
Yeah,
I'll probably
definitely
want to
worth
see
it.
this just to know more about it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's about it in the movie atmosphere. What have you been up to, man?
So, a few things as well. Not as much as, well, I guess a lot this week. Never mind. I'll take that back. I'm downplaying it because I haven't been gaming, but I actually did game it. It looks like, according to the show notes.
Yeah.
So Fortnite, we talked all about that. I did play it though. Earlier in the week, I played with my buddy EJ and his two roommates on Xbone. We played squad mode. We played a few rounds. We didn't do too good. And then of course played it with you. One of our coworkers, Chris, he picked up a 3DS XL with a bunch of games. I got a deal on it, and I picked through the games, and one of them he had, which I know nobody else is going to like, but I like it, is Mario Tennis Open, which is pretty cool. I first played Mario Tennis on the brain fart.
64?
No. Before that, why can't I think about it? Virtual Boy. Jesus Christ.
Oh, that's right. I forgot all about that game.
Yeah, which wasn't really truly 3D. It was 2D sprites and scaling, but with a 3D effect.
Yeah.
But it's actually done very well. It is a little primitive, but I played the shit out of that. A buddy of mine had the Virtual Boy, and he never liked it, so I'd always borrow it, and that's like the only game I'd play. That and Wario. But yeah, so I was like, and then 64, which it was a great game on 64. Did you play that one?
Yeah, that's the only Mario Tennis I've ever played. I've never played any of the others.
I haven't played any since then either. In fact, now that I think about it, I've only played the two. But I have really good memories of Mario Tennis. I guess the other thing that I had in mind about playing tennis video games was the Wii Sports Tennis that everybody got with the Wii, the pack-in game.
Yeah. I don't really count that, though. It's not a Mario Tennis game.
It's not Mario Tennis, but it is tennis. But I don't like it because it makes me move things and I get tired. So I don't like that. But yeah, so like I have some good memories of the tennis stuff. So I grabbed this from him. It was only $10. You know, it's only going for like 10 or $11 anyways. So not like not a wallet breaker if you find this game. It's really cool. There's something I don't like about it a lot.
Which is?
So you normally have like a view with these tennis games from behind the tennis player, third person, you know, and maybe it's like not directly like level behind them, but maybe it's like you're slightly elevated looking down and behind. Does that make sense? Which it does. But if you tilt the 3DS flat, it gives you an overhead view, which you would think, okay, cool. And it is a cool perspective. But I don't like to have to physically fucking tilt the 3DS while I'm playing the game. And it's flat. Like, you have to turn it flat. Like, I'm not about that at all. So I went through all the settings. You can only turn the flipping on and off. And if you do that, you only get the third person behind him view. There's no way to like put it on a button or the touchscreen and toggle it manually.
Oh, that's lame.
You have to use the fucking touch controls, and it's like, I'd like to hold it normal in front of my face and switch between those views. Really, really, really fucking hate that. You don't have to play it with the overhead view to win or be good at it, but it is kind of cool to have it and go between them. The other thing I don't like about it is, and some of these tennis games do this, like, and a lot of them do it at the lower skill levels, and then as you turn the skill level up, it takes it away. I know, like Virtua Tennis on the Dreamcast.
Oh shit, that's a game I haven't heard in forever.
It's actually really good. I actually played it a while back. It's pretty solid still, actually, believe it or not. But is that it will like start to move your character for you to kind of put them in a sort of a roundabout area. Well, Mario Tennis Open will straight up move you to where like the power up thing lights up on the court, where you can do like a power shot. You can take over and then not go to it and move them wherever you want, or you can move. If you start moving in the direction, it'll stop. But if you just do nothing, it will put your character wherever the fuck he or she should be. And I'd like to, when you get in the higher up skills, I'd like that to go away. I like to control my game. Yeah. You know what I mean? So those two things aside, it's still very playable, and it is Mario Tennis, and it's crazy fun, and you're doing stupid shit, and it's power-ups, and it's just, it's really cool. I mean, and for the price, like, worth it. Yeah, check it out, pick it up. I recommend it.
Can you do multiplayer with it?
I don't know. I would expect you could. That was a big push on that console. I don't know. I'll find out.
Yeah, That'd out because that cool. Might be fun, and hopefully it's one of those where you don't need the cartridge on the other 3DS or whatever.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, I will let you know as soon as we finish the podcast. I'll go dig it out and we'll look at it. And then on air quotes lunch, we can play that.
Sure.
Yeah. I'm gonna skip one real quick, Matt. I'm gonna go to Super Mario Odyssey. Okay. While the podcast was delayed, I finished it. Well, nice. I finished the main part of it. I beat Bowser.
Technically beat the game.
Technically, yeah. I beat Bowser, and I got a shit ton of moons in the Mushroom Kingdom. So I feel like I've experienced everything but the other two sides of the moon. And I'm almost there. I think I need like 16 moons, and I can go to the dark side of the moon.
And then you need 500 for the darker side.
Darker side. I don't even know. I'm definitely going to finish it to get to the dark side. I don't know if I'm going to bother doing up to the 500. I mean, do you think I should?
I mean, only for if you want to be a completionist. The darker side of the moon is just a really long, hard platforming level.
It does sound fun. Aiden's got a lot of moons, a lot more than me. So maybe when he gets to 500, I'll just play it on his save or something.
So what do you think of the final boss?
It took me. So the level that you have to play in like the lava field that's inside the moon, because that's what happens in the moon. That pissed me off because the checkpoints are really far apart, and it does. Yeah, they are. It does take you a few tries. It pissed me off in a good way, like how a platforming game should. Like, I don't mean like it ruined the game. Like, sometimes people take that the wrong way. Like, it pissed me off, and like the way it should. Like, it was hard. It took me a few tries to get to each checkpoint, but I didn't like how far apart the checkpoints were. But whatever. The boss himself, he was pretty much the same as when you fight him earlier in the game.
Yeah, pretty much.
I mean, there really wasn't much different, and that was a letdown.
Yeah, it really was, because that's always one of my favorite things to do in these Mario games is fight Bowser. Like Mario Galaxy, they had really fun Bowser fights.
Yeah. Aiden, when he loves to, once a game's beat, just go back and beat Bowser over and over again, and he's done that on all of them. And this one, I don't see him doing it. And in fact, he told me, he was sitting next to me when I was getting ready to fight him. He's like, yeah, he's pretty much the same. I was like, no. He's like, yeah.
And you can't even go back and fight Bowser again. You got to start a whole new game.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, I didn't even realize you. Yeah, I guess you can't. Well, that sucks.
Yeah.
Something that's cool, though, that the game does do, Matt, that I found while I was in Mushroom Kingdom, if you're into boss fights and you need more of them, is the paintings that are all around the Mushroom Kingdom let you fight the bosses from the previous worlds or whatever they are. So that's kind of cool. I did like 3 or 4 of those.
Yeah, and they're slightly harder, too.
Just slightly. It just takes you another death or 2 to figure out what's going on and get the hang of it. But dude, I think that's still cool. That's great endgame content.
Yeah, dude, I love the Mushroom Kingdom, all the throwbacks to Mario 64.
Oh, yeah, and I totally did that. I got the 64 suit and then went into the area that the Toad was guarding. And I think there was 2 in there. Is there more than 2?
No, just 2.
Just 2, so... Yeah, but that is cool because it is talk about a throwback. It's not just like how they styled Peach's castle to be like the one from 64. Like that is a courtyard front. It's all pixelated and everything. Like really cool.
Did you do I think where you go up into the rocket and you got to do Mario's face?
No. So I know what that is because I saw Aiden play it before. Yeah. There's like 3 or 4 stars that I know I still need to get there, and that's one of them. There's that. There's the race. There's one that's on top of one of the steeples on the castle.
Yeah.
I don't know how I'm gonna get that. I tried for forever. I couldn't get to it. And then there's one more. I can't remember what it is. But there's like 4 of them. And the rocket is one of them with the Mario face. Yeah. So.
No, I love the Mushroom Kingdom part. I think the only thing I have left to do in the Mushroom Kingdom is just collect all the achievements that you get from the Toadette.
Right. Did you get all the moons that Yoshi will give you from eating all the apples?
I think it's like 3 or 4 moons you get from that.
Yeah, 3, I believe. Yoshi's cool. I was disappointed I didn't get to ride him though.
Yeah, I was hoping that you were sort of like Mario Galaxy style and
no, you just literally fucking possess him and take over his soul.
Fucking possess everybody in that game.
That's so dirty. You know, Mario must know everybody's secrets.
Yeah, I know, right? Like what's the power besides controlling the body? Do you know like their deepest darkest secrets too?
Right. So like later on in life if you need to like blackmail them or yeah.
Oh, dude, what about that freaking ending to Mario Odyssey where Peach is just like, yeah, fuck you both. Dude, I was so pissed.
She's a she's a tease, bro.
Dude,
straight up.
That was more of a tease. That was more than a tease. That was just some more of like, yeah, fuck you guys. I'm going home. I'm just like, Mario saved your fucking ass. He literally went around the entire world and to the moon to save you. And you're going to treat him like that?
Now, maybe he shouldn't have been so pushy. I see that. That could have been a turnoff.
Oh, I'm sorry. I just saved your life.
He was pushy, though. He was battling with his little flowers with Bowser and shit. I mean, he was pushy. Not going to lie.
I think he should have stayed with Pauline. I mean...
Yeah, that would have been my move, too. I would have never got past New Donk City. I would have moved into her apartment, and that would have been it.
She can be my one-up girl, you know?
Yeah, there you go.
Oh, man.
Yeah, it's a good game, man.
It is.
It really is.
It's probably one of my favorite Marios since Mario Galaxy. Even though everybody loves Mario Galaxy 2 better, and I do agree it is the better game, but I enjoyed Mario Galaxy 1 more. So, but Odyssey was definitely worth it. I enjoyed the hell out of it.
I'm going to put Odyssey as one of it's either number 1 or number 2 game of 2017. It's pretty good.
Yeah, it was my number 2 game of 2017 when I did my Magic with Zuby episode.
True. Okay, that's right. I was trying to think if we did that. I knew it had come up, so you did that. That's right. I for sure it deserves the 1 or 2 slot for things that came out in 2017, and it's one of the better Marios.
Oh yeah, for sure. Like it blows 3D World away. 3D World was a really fun game, but compared that to Odyssey is way better.
It seriously has made me forget about even like the new Super Mario Bros. Series, with the exception of the first one. That one was pretty epic.
Yeah, I mean, I like the new Super Mario Brothers games. They're fun, but there's 4 of them, I think. One on the DS, 3DS, Wii, and Wii U.
Yeah.
And they literally all feel like the same game.
Thank you. Yes, because they are. They're reskinned. The textures are up-resed and shit for the Wii U.
Yeah.
I mean, shit. You could throw that game into Mario Maker. It is in Mario Maker, isn't it?
Yep.
So there you go. Like, it was great at first. Like, I really liked it on the Wii, and I really liked it on the DS. I think it was. Yeah. And I liked them then, but then as they came out with the second one when the 3DS was out. It felt no different. They came out with the second one was it on the Wii or was it the Wii U at that point? I think it was the Wii U. And that one felt no different. Yeah, I agree, man. Like those kind of,
because like when you look at Mario Brothers 1, 2, and 3, and even Mario World, they all have a very distinct feel.
Well, they're actually different. All completely different games.
Yeah. It's like those games just all feel the same, and like I said, they're fun. But if they're going to come out with another 2D Mario platformer, please
better
do
be
something
all new.
Different. Yeah,
it has to be completely new. You know what those are? All those other games are DLC, is what it is.
Pretty much. Yeah.
Like that's what it would be. Like seriously, and but they redeem themselves. They spend some time on Odyssey, and it shows.
True.
Let's see how many bullshit games built on the same shit of this that we get, though. Hopefully none.
Yeah.
They only did two galaxies, and they didn't actually fuck them up. So
no,
maybe, yeah. And then the last thing that I played, Matt, was something that you and I played again on Friday night. You helped me out immensely in this game, so thank you, sir. Is Diablo 3?
Diablo 3, yes, because I
only wanted into your Blizzardness, Matt.
Yeah, I did. I only wanted to play a little bit something different because I was getting a little tired of Fortnite, and just it was getting to be a little stressful, so to say. So right. I wanted something a little bit that would relax me a little bit. So I kind of wanted to play Heroes of the Storm, but you're like, no, I'm not about that new life. So we just decided to play Diablo 3, and
it was late, man.
It was late.
Truthfully, that's all it was, and I just didn't have it in me. And then honestly, like, you helped me level up after I think we had like one tiny bit, one act, like not even like one part of like an act left to beat, and then the final boss is all we had to do to top out the, I think it was the Reaper of Souls expansion.
Yep.
And after that, you went ahead and helped me level up the few levels I was missing on my barbarian to get him to 70. And like, I was so tired, dude. I got such good gear and like so many skills and shit unlocked. Like I couldn't even read them. I'm like, it was like blurring together.
Oh man, yeah. I mean, Diablo 3 is a really fun game.
It is.
It suffers from Blizzard not caring about the game anymore, because it doesn't generate them revenue like Overwatch or...
It doesn't generate them revenue anymore, but it generated them plenty of fucking revenue, though.
Yeah, when it came out, because it sold 12 million copies when the first game came out, Diablo 3.
Yep.
And it's... I don't know. I'm just... I really love the game. I have like over 1,000 hours played into it, but I feel like I've done everything.
Damn.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like over almost 600 hours into my wizard and like 400 hours into barbarian, I think it is.
There's truly nothing left for you to do in that game, like that you haven't already done.
I know. I mean, I could get every class to max level, which I've done multiple times. Because like that wizard I played, that's probably my third or fourth wizard that I've gotten max level and max gear, and same with that barbarian too.
Damn, dude. I was just thinking about that with how many hours you have into that and how click heavy that game is. Like, how many mice you think it's been responsible for destroying?
Probably a lot, man.
Yeah, Blizzard, hook your boy up. He needs a new mouse, man. Your game's messing him up.
No, I mean, it's not that I need a new mouse. It's think how many carpal tunnels it's caused.
Oh, dude, yeah,
for
absolutely.
that game too, because it is very click. That and StarCraft are very click heavy.
Well, I mean, you got your Lego Man style organic, carpal tunnel friendly mouse, so
Yeah,
you're good.
yeah, that is true.
Yeah, man, you're good. No worries there.
Yeah, man, but
Um,
we got to
but
play
yeah,
that again. But you need to play Heroes of the Storm. I think you'd
I
enjoy that.
do. I do. I think what we need to do, Matt, is like set a goal, and like over the next week, we need to do Fortnite on a console,
Yeah,
and I need to check out Heroes of the Storm. I think that's our
we
next
need
gaming
to.
session.
We need to actually set like. I mean, I hate to do it, but we need to set like a night where you and I just stream for like VCR gaming.
Friday nights work out once it gets a little bit later for me. And we could talk about this off air. People don't really
Yeah,
give a shit about this, but we might be able to do something like that. Absolutely. I'm
yeah,
totally down with that.
yeah. We can
Uh,
try that.
but yeah, so Diablo was cool. I picked up. I went to Goodwill, Matt.
I'm sorry.
Oh, you know what? I left something out. I left something out that I did over the weekend that wasn't boring as fuck and cleaning related. I took the boy to Cars and Coffee.
Oh, that's right.
Which
That's right.
Yeah, so we went to that. That was pretty cool. Saw some badass cars and stuff. But on the way back, I was up crazy early on a Saturday and out and about. So we were passing by Goodwill when they opened. So I was like, come on. So we went in there and I picked up Uncharted 1 and number 3 on the PS3, which mine
Oh
have been
shit.
missing for years. I got them both for $3 each. So
Like in good condition and all that.
phenomenal. 100% complete in box. Perfect. Nothing wrong with any of them. Discs immaculate.
Nice.
Yep. So $3 each. Grabbed those. Now I have those again. I don't know where those went. So pretty stoked. I'm probably going to replay the series. I know you played it recently. So,
Yeah.
but yeah. So I got some pickups there, and then
Just skip Uncharted 3. It's so terrible.
I know you hate it, but I don't remember it as because I haven't played it as recently as you. So like I kind of want to play it to see if your hate is fully justified.
It is.
You
Trust
know?
me, it is.
Like I remember
Don't
it was not my favorite, but I don't remember having a deep hatred for it, and you like straight hate that. So
Yeah.
did you play on PS3 or no, you played
The remakes.
the collection.
Yeah.
Yeah, that actually might be the move for those. I'm thinking I don't know if I can look at 24 frames a second, Matt. I don't know if I can do it.
I mean, you get used to it. You get used to the terrible quality.
True.
Yeah. I mean, just go back and play like Nintendo 64 and realize how like the 5 frames per second.
You stop it. I love Nintendo 64. I'll play it right now while we podcast. I love that shit. I play GoldenEye and shit and love how fucking blurry it is.
Oh god. Oh, God.
It's so bad, by the way.
I need to go back and play it because I've not played it in years.
Next time you're over, like we don't have to play it, but remind me to fire it up just so you can see that ridiculousness, dude. It's
Oh,
bad.
God.
It's bad. I didn't watch really much, Matt. I meant to, but I just watched YouTube when I had time, which is mostly like before going to bed. You know how that goes.
Oh, I know.
But I did watch something. I don't know. It's not. Is it a channel necessarily? I don't know. But Vice and Viceland and all that, like they do
Yeah.
documentaries. I watched. They've got a whole series called Epically Latered. Yeah, I didn't know anything about it, but I used to really like the CKY movies and the Jackass movies and
Hell
stuff like
yeah.
that.
CKY.
Yeah, and like Viva La Bam and all that. And we haven't heard much from Bam Margera in a long ass time. So they did one of those epically latered specials Vice did on Bam Margera. I think it was the first episode. So I downloaded that and gave it a watch. It's like an hour long. It's kind of cool. And it's fairly recent. It's only like a few months out of date.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so kind of cool. Kind of neat to hear what happened to him and what's going on with him. He's not a complete piece of shit, which is nice to know. Pretty cool. Pretty cool.
No,
That's about it.
I'll have to check that out because you and I talked about that. I used to have the DVDs of Viva La Bam, and I've watched them I don't know how many times. I don't think I have the DVDs anymore, but I know I did for a long time, and I watched all, was it 5 or 6 seasons over and over and over again.
Oh yeah. He said they did like 2.5 years straight, like no break. They filmed Viva La Bam.
That's
like,
crazy, man.
Yeah, that's pretty nuts. But yeah, so you probably threw those out in the great DVD purge
Yeah,
of
probably.
2013 or something.
Probably
Yeah.
because it's just like one of those. I'm never gonna watch this again. But come to find out, I think I want to watch it again.
Word. Word.
I could always acquire it, you know.
Everything can be acquired, Matt. All
Not
things can
not
be
everything.
acquired.
Some of those martial arts movies I can't find.
That's
That
sad. That's a sad story, dude.
and they are, imports and all that shit. So they're you could probably find them under the original Japanese or Chinese name, but I don't fucking know what it would even be called.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like that might be obtainable. You can jump on, eBay Japan and shit too, I'm sure, and
Yeah.
find some of that stuff.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
good times.
No, so
But
I guess we could get into the main topic of tonight.
the meat, Matt, the meat.
And that is talking about the FPS genre, because you and I were going back and forth of, what should we talk about? And both of our favorite genres are first person shooting games.
Gia.
And both you and I have played many, many, many first person shooting games with it throughout the 90s, the zeros, and even the
Oh, yeah.
10s.
Who doesn't love shooting shit?
I mean, vegans? I don't know.
It's so fucking true. Yeah, that's actually on point.
I mean, they're the only people I can think of that. But, I mean, I guess to start off real quick, do you remember what your first-person shooter was?
Same as most. Doom.
Do you remember what system you played that on?
PC.
PC. So I'm trying to think back here, and I'm pretty sure I played it on PC first, because I do remember playing it a lot on Super Nintendo as well, but I think I played it more on PC.
So, if I remember correctly, our generation, by the time that we got word of Doom, it wasn't exactly new anymore. It was new to like our area and us, but we didn't have the internet and stuff. So like most computers could play it. Like if your parents had like a Packard Bell, it would probably
Packard
play
Bell.
it. Yeah, so that's why I was able to play that, and I think most kids were too. And did you ever have did you have any friends like, be like, oh yeah, let's go to Zuby's house, he's got Doom? Like, did that happen to you at all?
I'm sure it did. I honestly don't remember.
It
So.
seemed to attract all the kids, man, for real.
Oh yeah, freaking playing Doom. God, and do you remember what version of Doom? Did you have floppy disk or CD?
CD.
And
CD.
did you have the DOS version or the Windows version?
DOS version.
Okay.
Man, you're getting deep, bro.
I know.
However, I have seen and played a floppy disk version of it. That's not the version I had.
Yeah. So I think, oh fuck, I don't remember. I'm pretty sure I had the CD version, and it was the DOS version. But I do remember a Windows version coming out later when they did like an anthology of Doom.
Had to be way late, dude. Had to be way late because you figure they didn't. When did they come out with DirectX? I mean, that was late, man. Like you had to use DOS. Yeah, you had to use DOS to communicate directly with the hardware. So yeah, it must have been way later on that there was a Windows version.
And same with Doom 2. I remember I had the DOS version first, and then I later got the Windows version of Doom 2 as well.
I don't even remember a DOS version of Doom 2. I mean, a Windows version of Doom 2.
No, there was later on. But, I mean...
I know later on my uncle had a disc that had Doom 1, 2, and 3, or Final Doom, whatever you want to call it. It was like 3 discs. It was like he bought it for like $20 at Walmart. It was like all of them. But even those launched via DOS in Windows. So...
Huh. That's interesting. But, so I guess...
Maybe the first two did. Maybe Final Doom didn't. But I know the first two on that disc, because the disc was like identical.
I remember DOS versions of it, but I may be mistaken about Doom 1, but I definitely remember Doom 2 having a Windows version of it where it didn't require
I believe you.
DOS.
There's your nerd shit, guys. We're talking about what fucking operating system you needed to play a game. Woo!
Oh, man.
Nerds.
So I guess getting into first-person shooting games, you and we wrote down a whole list of games that we remember that we played back, and we're mainly talking about the 90s here. I think we get into the late 90s, like 99 is the latest one, and these were all games that you and we grew up playing and remembering the hell out of, and it's really spawned you know, whole series of games. I mean, even after all this, without any of these games, we'd have no Call of Duty. And regardless of what you think of Call of Duty, it is like by far like the most popular first-person shooting game still. I mean, even though, hell, the World War II is still, there's still record-selling number of units of it. It's crazy.
Oh yeah. And Call of Duty aside, I mean, think about it. Your Battlefronts, it's endless. You know, your
and
any
Rainbow
of it,
Six.
any of it, yeah, and all the shit the kids play. Your fucking Counter-Strike, your CS:GO, which, by the way, millennials, that shit's old. You're playing an old game. Anyway,
I'm sure they know by now.
I'm sure they do too, but it's old.
Yeah, fucking Counter-Strike. Geez, I remember playing the shit out of that, but we played Team Fortress more.
Team Fortress, yeah. But even that I was tired of like 15 years ago, so come on, step your game up.
So, I guess let's just go down the list here.
Sure, man.
First one starting with Doom. Like, what are some of your memories about Doom when you were playing as a kid?
So, I remember this. My aunt and uncle moved to Florida. They only lived here for about a year, but they always lived in Maine. And I used to love going to their house and shit. When they finally moved here, like I'd like spend the night over there. Like I'd hang out all the time, and they'd crash out early. And in the guest room was where his PC was, and he had a much nicer Packard Bell than I did. Yeah, another name drop. And he had the Doom collection on there. And dude, more than once I remember, like, that was probably the first game that scared the shit out of me in the middle of the night.
Really?
Well, like jump scares. You know what I mean? Because like I was still learning I didn't know the game like the back of my hand at that point. It was still kind of new, like a little bit new to me. And like, yeah, you'd come around the corner and get murked, and the music was real fucking creepy and shit. I mean, it seems cheesy now, but that game was the tits then, man. And that's probably the first game to really scare the shit out of me and jump scare me. I had to stop playing, at like 1 a.m. one night and shit. So,
I mean,
what about you?
I don't remember being scared of the game. I mean, maybe, but I honestly can't think of it. But I do remember, not that we were really religious growing up, but I remember thinking like, oh shit, this game's like satanic and shit. Like, I'm gonna go to hell for playing this and whatnot. And but it was, and I can remember the graphics. They blew me away at the time.
Oh, they were. You hadn't seen nothing like that, and how smooth it moved and all that. Yeah,
and how bloody and gory it was too. I couldn't believe when my mom finally watched me play this game, she almost took it away from me. And but I told her like, Mom, I understand the difference between right and wrong. I'm not going to go and chainsaw some people up and all that stuff.
Did you try that, Mom? I'm killing demons from hell. It's okay.
I probably did, but I had to tell her.
She's like, don't say hell, dear.
Yeah, I had to tell her, like, I understand the difference between right and wrong. I'm not going to go shoot people up and all that. And I remember some of her friends would come over while I was playing it, and they just thought my mom was, like, the worst parent in the world for letting me play such a satanic and devilish game and all that shit. I'm like...
They were the people that, even though they clearly saw you on a computer, they called it him playing that evil Nintendo game.
Yeah,
they were
probably
the Nintendo people. Everything's Nintendo.
Yeah, I know. But I remember, God, like I said, I just remember playing the hell out of it. Doom 2 especially, and
played a lot of Doom 2 myself too. Yeah,
that was just the shit. I played that for so long, and it was, and I remember not liking it too much on the Super Nintendo because I'm like, this is inferior compared to the PC.
Hold on, you played that on the Super Nintendo?
I probably rented it at one point.
Oh my god, and it played in like the ittiest bittiest like letterbox ever.
Well, I didn't know any better at the time. So
true, you were just like, holy shit, this is on my Nintendo now.
Yeah, and it was terrible.
Right.
So
I get that.
So
I was going to say real quick before we get off Doom, if anybody cares, if you want and this will be the only time these words are ever said by anybody, if you want the definitive version of Doom on console, it's actually the Jaguar.
Really?
Yeah, there's no music, but other sound effects and the size of the screen that it uses and the frame rate and all that. Yeah, the Jaguar has like the best port of Doom.
Huh.
Yeah,
Interesting.
on console.
Yeah, I was about to say like PC is still infinitely better.
And it always will be.
Dude, I need my GTX 1080 Ti to be able to play Doom 1.
You got to have two of them SLI,
Yeah.
bro.
Yeah.
You can't play that shit with one, you peasant.
I know, right? I need the pixels. I need to see. I need to see each exact pixel.
You need a whole Bitcoin farm to play it.
Oh God.
But anyway, sorry, that was my Doom fact I wanted to throw in there.
Yeah, I never knew that.
Yeah.
I didn't even know it was out on the Jaguar, which I shouldn't be surprised. You can play it on a calculator. I mean,
they ported it to the touch bar on my MacBook.
Oh, that's right. I've seen that. What? Oh God. I mean, that is actually a thing where people try to get Doom to work on the stupidest things you can imagine.
It is. It's like does it play Crysis or whatever?
Yeah.
It's like, well, can you put Doom on it? Like, and that's for real. Yeah.
And before we get in, another nerdy fact, if you look at so in networking, there are something called ports. And there's something called well-known ports that are from port 1 to 1024. So there's actually a port dedicated just for Doom, and it is port 666. And you
How
can
badass
actually
is that?
pull up your computer and go to where if you have to change your host file, there's actually a file for ports, and you can look in that list and see that port 666 is made for Doom. I'm going to throw it up on the video here real quick.
Do it, dude. Do it. That's a great... I almost forgot about that. You're the one that taught me about that. Yeah, that is so freaking cool, man.
It was actually, when I was studying for my CCNA, that was actually in the book. I'm like, why is this even in the freaking book?
It was in the book too, huh? Like the actual, here's the Doom port.
Yeah, what is it? Is it under protocol? Hold on, I'm pulling it up now.
Right.
Yeah, here we go. Oh, whoa! Is it not in
protocol services?
Or is it under services?
Networks? It's not in networks.
I don't fucking know. Oh, here we go. Yeah, it's under protocol. So, here I'm gonna change the. Oh, whoops! Wrong window here. Let me just make sure I'm looking at the right one. So, if you're actually watching the video of it right now, I pulled up the services under for Windows, and you look at port 666 is for TCP and UDP is for Doom.
Laugh my ass off, dude. Yeah. That is the shit. Look at that.
It's actually a thing. It's
Windows 10. That shit is still there.
Yep.
It's the Doom port, TCP and UDP.
I mean, as long as TCP and UDP are utilizing well-known ports, it's always
going to be there.
Yeah. Which,
dude, that is it makes me happy as a gamer. It's so cool.
So that's a little nerd fact for the day if you didn't know that.
Doom is in your brand new Ultrabook, everybody. That's right.
Yep. It's in your computer right now.
Oh shit! You think it's in the Mac host file?
I don't know about the Mac host, but I mean, Mac would be utilizing the same ports. Like I said, they're well-known ports, so any device would use it.
Doom port Mac. I have no idea where it is in OS X, so I'm not going to go hunt it down. I'm just going to Google it.
I'm sure OS X has host files and all that shit.
It does have a host file. I just don't remember where it is. I haven't had to edit it in 5 years, so I don't know where it is.
Dude, I have not messed with the Mac file system in forever. I don't even remember what anything even is. I used to know that the back of my hand because I had to for my job.
Oh, good times. Good times.
Oh, yeah. So while you're looking that up, let's talk about our next game here. And
yes,
for me, it won't be too long because I only played it a little bit because I played this after Doom, and I didn't like it as much because Doom was better at the time. And
it was totally a step backwards.
Yeah, and that's Wolfenstein here, and that's the famous Nazi killing game where you actually get to fight Hitler at the end of the game.
So I didn't play that game until much later, and I didn't give it much of a chance either. I did, however, do you remember when Nokia was making cell phones that played games?
Yeah. Oh God. Yeah.
So I had one, and it showed up in the store for free one day, the full game, and I actually played it. I played it and beat it on there. And it was
damn.
actually a good port. Yeah, I later compared it to a PC version, and it wasn't terrible. I mean, it was shitty because it was on a phone, but it was
Yeah.
right. It was accurate. So yeah, that's really the only story that I have to go with Wolfenstein. We just weren't in the know. We were too young probably, and that was the first one, So it was.
I definitely didn't have a computer when it came out in 92. I didn't get a
Oh
computer
no.
until 94, 95, I think. Something like that.
When you said computer to either one of us in 92, we thought of some futuristic James Bond shit.
Or something that we're way too poor to even afford.
Or the shitty late 70s computers, early 80s computers they had in our computer lab at school.
Yeah. Yeah, Mac 2s. That's what
that's even nicer than what I was thinking. I'm thinking like the Tandies, the all-in-one Tandies with the giant the 5.25 floppy disks.
Dude, I remember we had Apple IIe's in our school playing Number Munchers in
rich,
Oregon
bro.
Trail. Yeah.
Number Munchers, dude, that's the shit.
Yeah, man. No, but with my experience with Wolfenstein, I first played it after Doom 2, and I don't even remember how I got the game. I really don't remember. And I just remember playing it and not really liking it because it just felt very inferior to Doom. And it was fun, but I never beat it or anything. It was just more of this Doom is better, and I just stuck with that.
Right. No, it's hard to go backwards, man. It is, especially too when they were so like. It wasn't like it was like retro cool. It was like, oh, this lacks a lot.
Yeah.
It was like, ew, primitive.
It really was. I don't even think you could. I could be wrong, but I don't think you could move with the mouse in Wolfenstein. I think you still had to use keyboards. The keyboard to be able to look around. Because I remember, at least in Doom 1 and 2, you could look around with the mouse, and you could actually go back and forward with the mouse as well, too.
You couldn't go up or down, though, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, I mean, you got to remember, in those games, you didn't even have to really aim. You just had to aim in the general direction of the enemy. Not like nowadays, them kids and their fancy aiming and shit.
You actually have to put your fucking cursor on what you intend to kill.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. Back in my day, we didn't have to do that shit.
In my day, you just had to be in the same room as somebody to shoot them.
To kill them, even if they were 50 yards away and you were using a pistol. Or 500 yards away. But yeah, so that's Wolfenstein. Next on our list is a game that I know we both played. Like I said, I did not play it as much as Doom, but it definitely played it quite a bit, and that's Duke Nukem 3D.
I played the absolute shit out of this game. Oh my god. I had it on my phone until they switched to 64-bit processors, and they didn't update it. And I beat it on my phone too, motherfucker. I am walking frickin' this game, dude. Like, oh my god. Go on, man, because I'll talk forever about fucking Duke Nukem 3D, dude.
Oh no, I mean, when the game came out, it was like revolutionary. You could interact with the environment, which was something you couldn't do in previous shooting games at the time.
So what Matt means by that is you could give money to strippers.
Not only that, but you could actually, and this may sound really, really, really stupid to people if they didn't grow up in this era, this era here, is you could actually interact with sinks and toilets too.
Oh yeah, in the mirror. You look in the mirror, and he would recognize he's looking in a mirror and say, some stupid shitty catchphrase like "Damn, I'm looking good" or whatever it was. Yeah.
Yeah, and that was revolutionary because you couldn't interact with your environment before. You couldn't interact with strippers or even trash cans or
that's true.
Any of that
that's
stuff.
true. Right, you could like blow up trash cans and break certain things, and windows you could bust out and shit. That that's a great point. I kind of took that for granted at the time. And even now,
you couldn't do that in Doom 2. If you found a bathroom in Doom, which I don't even think there was a bathroom in Doom.
No, there wasn't. It was the environment was way more primitive too.
And it's like I said, it sounds so stupid, but it's like, oh hey, I can flush the toilet. That's cool.
it was at the time. It added to it,
It added, immersiveness into the game.
Or like in the theater, you could open the movie theater, you can open the curtains and then turn the projector on and the movie would play and all that, which it was
that too.
But that's a great point. What else did it do? It was all still not truly 3D.
No, it wasn't.
It was still sprite scaling
Yeah.
and for lack of a better term, they call it Mode 7 on the Super Nintendo, but that's just fancy pants scaling. Um, not terrible. Like they had like, what, I think 6 different models for the characters. So, it
Yeah.
kind of looked like you were circling around them or whatever. Um, did you play what all versions did you play? Did you ever play this Nintendo 64 port of it? Duke
Fuck.
Nukem 64, I believe it was called.
I don't remember if I did or not. I know I played the Doom 64, but I don't remember if I played Duke Nukem 64 or not. I really don't remember. What was it, like just a remake of the game?
It's totally a port, although missing some stuff. It's totally a not a terrible port, by the way. It's totally a port of 3D.
Okay.
It's some major differences. Weapons that they added some shit, took away some shit. They might use different ammo. Like there's some weird shit like that they did, and it's not true like level for level playthrough, but it's pretty good. And what was cool is I remember this. My buddy Chris, he's the one that had it, and him and I had played it on the PC and played the shit out of it. And when it came out, I think he got it in a trade from a friend of his. He didn't even he traded a game for it or whatever. But we would be playing it when people would come by and they wouldn't know anything about it because they weren't in the PC. And you could play local 2-player. You could even do co-op. So it kind of blew their minds and they didn't know anything of this game. So like it was kind of like a cult thing for the people that never got to play it on PC. And it was, I don't know, it was neat. It wasn't a bad port. It looked fine. I don't remember it looking inferior to the PC version at all. I could be wrong. I'd have to kind of go back to it now, but I remember it looking fine at the time. But that one I did put a lot of time into. But the PC obviously is where it was at.
Yeah.
Not a first person, but just while we're talking about Duke Nukem, did you ever play? I didn't, but did you ever play the one Duke Nukem Time to Kill, which is a third person game on PlayStation?
Nope. No,
Yeah,
my
weird one.
experience of Duke Nukem is literally just on the PC, and then Duke Nukem Forever on PC as well.
Ew.
I mean, I paid like what $2 for it on a Steam sale, and it wasn't as bad.
It's worth $2.
Yeah.
It's not. It was so late, and it's so 90s, like with like all the like. I don't know. They missed the mark with that. They could have really, really redone it, and I don't feel like they did, man. I really don't.
I can see how people getting mad if they paid $60 for it, but for $2 on Steam sale, I was satisfied.
I'm looking it up right now to see what it is on Steam. Looks like there's a few different ways you can download it. The straight game is $20. Duke Nukem Forever Hail to the Icons parody. I'm guessing that's DLC. It's add-on content. So you can get everything, all the content for $40, or you can get the base game for $20.
Holy shit. What, Duke
kind
Nukem
of a lot.
Forever?
Yeah, that's kind of a lot.
Yeah, that's way too much.
I'm not paying that.
If they were paying you $20, yeah.
Should we call them? Yeah, I was thinking about giving Duke Nukem Forever a try, but there's not a negative symbol next to the game. Could you? I think it's just a typo. It's probably just a typo.
Oh, definitely. But yeah, man.
But yeah, Duke Nukem.
It's one of those games that's gonna remain, in the history books of shooting games. It's sort of like one of the games that defined the genre. Definitely.
It earned its place for sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So this next game on our list is a game that, holy shit, I played so many hours of, and it was mainly the multiplayer because this is... So, you know how... and the game is Delta Force 2. So the best way I can describe the multiplayer at the time was, you know how we like to think of Battlefield as a really good, not co-op, like a team multiplayer game where you're having to work as a team and you can't be a solo person.
Right.
Delta Force 2 puts that game to shame in terms of this, where the maps are so huge, and The objectives you'd have to do in multiplayer were just like you had to work as a team for this, and you had to have snipers up in watchtowers or hills or mountains. And I mean, I can remember, you'd spend 10-15 minutes just climbing up a mountain just to get a good sniping spot and just start sniping down the enemy base.
So was this an online type game? Like, what was this?
It was both single player and online.
Now, how was the single player a lot like the same? Like, were you able to like post people? I only remember seeing this game, and like I'm looking at some screenshots, and like it's kind of bringing it back, but I didn't play this very much. How is it like in the single player? Like, what's that like?
Single player was the thing I loved about single player was I would replay the same missions over and over again because there was just so many ways to do it. Like you could, if I remember correctly, you could pick your guns before you start the mission, and you could be like an assault type soldier where you have to go in guns blazing, but you're gonna die if you do that. If you take a more smart approach where you snipe people, and then like God, I can remember in some missions I'd literally climb up a mountain and do nothing but snipe people down at the base in order to try to rescue the hostages and beat the mission that way. There'd be some missions I'd beat where I literally wouldn't even go into the base in order to beat it. And,
no shit.
And
this is a THQ game.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So, like I said, multiplayer was definitely a lot of fun. That was the type of game where I wouldn't really call it battle royale like Fortnite and PUBG, but there were game modes similar to that where you'd have a whole bunch of people like one shot, you're dead. Not one shot, but one death, you're done.
Right.
Type thing. And games would last what felt like forever because the maps were so huge.
So massive.
Yeah, and it's not like the maps were they didn't look great, especially in those days. They were just huge and wide.
I'll tell you this. Here's what speaks to the size that you're talking about and justifies it. So the game came out October 31st of 99, okay? Hard disk space required was 530 megabytes. Half a gig in 99 was pretty substantial.
Yeah, it was.
That's pretty crazy. I mean, that's like, honestly, like it's not an apples to apples comparison, but like that's almost like telling you that you're going to use 200 gigs to house this game.
Yep.
Like nowadays, seriously, like that's pretty crazy.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really know what more to say about this game. I had so much fun with it, loved the hell out of it. It's
$5 on Steam.
Oh God,
it's pretty terrible looking.
See, I'd buy it, then play it for 2 minutes and be like, oh, okay, I'm done. It's one of those games I played so many times I don't need to play it again.
All right. Well, if you change your mind, just give me $5 and then I'll play it.
Oh, then you'll see
I'll
those
report
graphics
back.
And just be like, "Oh dear God,
yeah,
it's terrible."
It would be funny to see my current setup play it and not even fucking notice that it's off idle.
Yeah, you'd probably be able to mine Bitcoin at the same time while playing it.
It probably wouldn't even notice.
Yeah,
it's like, oh shit, there's a game running.
Yeah, exactly.
When did that get there?
But yeah.
So the next game, Matt, the next game on the list is something that if you are from computers at all on the come up, you played the straight balls off of, and that is Mech Warrior 2.
So just a little funny story before we get into it. When
go for it.
You know Modern Warfare, right?
Yeah.
So when Modern Warfare 2 came out, everybody was calling it MW2. And dude, I was confused for the longest time. I'm like, did Mech Warrior 2 suddenly get a resurgence of popularity or something? Because everybody was talking about it on the internet, like, oh, MW2 is such a good game. I'm like, yeah, Mech Warrior 2 was a really good game at the time.
You're like, yeah, totally, dude. Like, oh my god,
dude, but dude, I was confused. I'm like, but why is everybody talking about such an old ass game? And then I see Modern Warfare 2's out. I'm like, oh, okay.
So, for people that don't know, Mech Warrior 2 is a first-person shooter where you are in a mech. And if you don't know what a mech is, you're not a gamer and you're not listening to our podcast, but I'll say it anyways. It's like a bipedal robot that you get inside and control, and it's armored and fitted heavy with weapons, and your job is to go out and hunt down and destroy other ones, as well as like targets and things like that.
If you're still confused at what a mech is, think of ATSTs or ATATs in Star Wars, okay?
Right, or the DARPA robots that will soon enslave us all.
Yeah.
Except no people are in those.
Yeah.
So it's not the same at all. But either way.
No. Maybe.
Yeah. But yeah, so how the game played is it's a first-person shooter that they put lines in your way to simulate like the cockpit and the cockpit supports. Like, really, I'm looking at this, Matt, and it's just really... they really fucking duped us on this, because you could have got rid of it and said we were a person shooting robots and you wouldn't know any better.
Dude, the game's graphics were so fucking amazing at the time, though.
Oh, at the time they were truly phenomenal. Yeah.
Dude,
did you ever play that against anybody that you knew?
No, I only ever played single player.
Yeah, I always wanted to do that, but I don't know why, but I know I've never did that. I only ever did the single player as well.
So you remember when like the PC Gamer magazine would come with demo discs?
Oh my God, yeah.
That's how I first played this game, MechWarrior 2, and I played the demo over and over and over again, and I loved it so much that I think I like begged my mom to buy it for me.
To get it for you.
Yeah.
And I remember it was one of those things that went down to like $30-$40 pretty quickly too, because it was so popular. That was the thing with PC games back in the day. The more popular they got, the cheaper they got. Like,
oh, that is right.
Not 100% true, but like a lot of the popular games, just to get people in, once they kind of recouped their cost, they would drop the price to kind of keep it going. That was a really cool thing. So one thing that I made a mental note of when we were talking about this the other day, and we brought this one up, is that this is one of the first games that really taught me how to lead something when you're shooting that's moving, because the other mechs would be going so fast to try to avoid you or whatever. You'd really have to like target them ahead of the way. Like,
yeah,
you think about that? Yeah. So pretty cool.
I forgot all about that. Yeah.
Yeah. So that was probably one of the first games that you really had to do shit like that. You had to lead it. It was, I wouldn't call it realistic, ballistics, but certainly more than anything we had seen at the time.
Yeah, definitely true.
Good game though, man. I miss it.
Yeah,
it's pretty wretched.
Yeah, I was about to say it'd probably be terrible to play nowadays.
Hey, but it's rendered in actual polygons. It's not, not terrible.
Yeah. So you want to talk about the next game on our list? I have
no
experience.
Quickly, yeah. Apparently, not a lot of people played this, so I'll leave it alone. But there was a game called Descent. They even had a sequel to it. I believe I saw it packaged on like what you would call like home entertainment packaged computers. You would see it on those on like Windows 98, 95. Descent was you kind of like MechWarrior, but you're in like a hovercraft. Inside some type of a compound, and your goal was to either like capture flags or destroy the other hovercrafts, shit like that. It's mediocre, but it was cool when you'd be at a relative's house and realize that they had like the home media center PC and it was on there, so it actually gave you something to do. And honestly, that's how I played it most of the time.
Oh, okay.
I would be stuck somewhere and they'd be like, "Oh, Matt's into computers." You'd be like, "Yeah, whatever." And you get there and you'd be like, oh, it would either be like Space Cadet Pinball or this would be on there. So, yeah. But yeah, I'm not going to go into it too much. But yeah, that was a first person shooter and it was kind of neat at the time. It was different. You weren't really driving hovercrafts and shooting shit way back in the day. So go ahead, Matt. Why don't you take the next one?
Quake. You probably have more experience with that game than I do. I did play it, but not a whole lot. But I only ever played, I want to say Quake 3, though. Quake 3 Arena.
Quake 3 Arena is the fucking jam. Like, don't say it like that. Come on.
I mean...
Well, it was the jam.
We played it, but I remember we played Unreal Tournament way more than Quake, though. At least my friends and I did.
Yeah, Unreal Tournament was the undisputed champ of the time. I played, the first one I jumped in on was Quake 2. What was it? Spynet? No, what was it?
Or,
was it Spynet? Spynet was like the multiplayer gaming service
Yeah.
that you would use to like link your games up with others to be able to play. And Quake 2 was on there. My buddy had it, and he kind of brought me under his wing and showed me that. That was really cool. It was really fun. I had a lot of good times jumping into those games. That's where I first learned about ping times and all that. Quake it's a shooter. It's a lot like a primitive version of kind of like Unreal Tournament, without the spectacular weapons, more traditional. One thing that was cool is you could. I'm trying to remember what. Oh, like telefragging. I remember that's where telefragging started. Like where you would have a portal to step through that would transport you somewhere, and if you stepped into it the same time as somebody else, it would murk them. If they were coming through at the same time, it was called a telefrag. So that was always fun.
I remember that. Okay.
That was always fun if you got one of those. That kind of came from that game. Something really cool. Back in, God, must be like 2009, 2008, 2009, when I first started soft modding Nintendo Wii's, somebody ported Quake 2 over to the Wii, and it's actually not terrible. It's really lonely. That game feels really lonely today. But that's the most, I played it as recently as like 2009, and I played it on the Wii, and it was kind of cool.
Oh, shit.
But yeah, it's out there. You can get it.
I think there's a freemium version too.
There very well might be. Who made Quake?
Oh,
who's the developer on that?
I'd have to look it up. I don't remember.
I'm gonna, because I want to know, because how would it be?
Oh, it's id.
Oh, it is.
How the fuck did I forget that?
Damn, I fucked that up pretty hard. Okay.
Yeah, same people who did Doom and Wolfenstein.
True.
Yeah, man. So, yeah, like I said, I didn't have a lot of experience with Quake. We did play it. I did enjoy it. It was the last time I even played Quake, I think it was one of the Quake Arena nets or something it was a free version.
Yeah, when they were really trying to hang on at the end there. Quake was, you know what Quake was? Quake was the online gamer in between Duke Nukem 3D and Unreal Tournament. Honestly, that was it. At that time frame, that was the game. It was your Call of Duty or your Overwatch or whatever the most popular, your Halo, like whatever it was. That was it.
Your kids and your Halos and all that shit.
God, and that's not even true. People all grew up playing Halo are fucking adults now, Matt.
I know. Like,
that's scary.
I didn't grow up playing Halo at all. I didn't even like Halo for the longest time.
I know, me either. I was like, yeah, that shit's whack, dog.
Yeah. It's like, give me Doom or Unreal Tournament or some shit, which our next game is Unreal Tournament.
Unreal fucking Tournament, dude.
Talk about a game, holy shit, my friends and I played for like ever.
This game, bro.
And I feel like we are cheating a little bit because this game did come out in 99, I want to say.
And we didn't play it until 2000, 2001, 2002. I know.
But talk about a game that at least took my friends by storm. My friends and I we would spend hours playing this. What was it? Two Worlds was the most popular one.
Two Worlds, yeah. Well, I mean, you only needed one copy.
It was that one of the games where you only needed one copy?
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, I remember buying my copy, but
I did too. But like a couple of my friends didn't, and we had no problems playing. Especially if you used a third party thing. Like I don't think it was Spynet at the time anymore, but if you used like a third party, it didn't even give a shit. You could join up, or you could even direct link. Like we had like 4 or 5 people that play, so sometimes we would just dial into each other to have lower ping times and shit.
Oh, nice.
So, Unreal Tournament, man, like graphically, did that not just fuck your brain?
Oh, dude, it was freaking amazing at the time. I mean, like I said, there was not much Quake would be the closest game similar to it at the time, but it just felt more fun. It felt more, I guess I want to say casual, because I feel like Quake was for a little bit more hardcore FPS gamers, and Unreal was for the type of people who were definitely more casual, but it could still be hardcore. And it was easier for your friends to get into as well if they weren't that adept at FPS games.
And it not only was it easier for them to get into, as soon as they see you like jump really high in like one of like the low gravity areas, or they see like the rocket launcher go off and literally explode somebody into bits, like they had to play it. They had no choice. Like it took them over. And the thing is that what I remember, Matt, about this game at that time is that the nerd in me or whatever, but like I just remember playing it and being in awe that there was nothing on the console. Like, how could consoles exist when this game looked so good? I remember that, like, the frame rate was higher, it was smoother, the textures were better. Like, and then you look and play something on the PS1 and you were like, or the 64, and you just were like, why?
Like, this is gross.
Seriously, there was like nowadays, consoles they're catching up, and I think it's because not the hardware. I think it's just because developers that need to develop for everything to make money. Mm-hmm. The gap is a lot closer nowadays than it was back then, and it was crazy, man. It was.
No, I mean, you're right. What more can be said about this game?
My son and I still play it on the Dreamcast.
Oh shit. Talk about
it's shitty
throwback. Oh god, it probably is.
It's shitty as well, and plus it's not a good port to the Dreamcast. That was a game much better played with a mouse and keyboard, I will tell you that. But we do enjoy it. We do have fun. He likes Capture the Flag. Him and I will we'll put the max amount of bots and turn their level all the way up, and we'll try to see if we can survive. We have a good time.
Oh yeah, and yeah, it's even the single player is fun in that game.
I liked the story is shitty and cheesy. I like the lady's voice that narrates it. I like that.
Yeah, I can't remember it off the top of my head right now.
Look it up, bro. It'll trigger some serious memories in your fucking dome.
Oh, probably. But next on our list is a game that, goddamn, needs no introduction, because if you were definitely a gamer of the 90s, growing up playing in this era like we did, you definitely played this game even if you didn't own it, and that's GoldenEye 007 on the 64.
Boom.
I mean, talk about a game that, FPS games pretty much resided on computers. Yeah, they did have ports on, consoles, but they were always shit. Like, just
they were
shit.
And they were multiplayer, but they weren't local multiplayer.
Yeah.
Like, there was no way to play on the same computer with somebody else.
Yep. And when GoldenEye 007 came out, that kind of just blew everything away. And
it wasn't even like, so it's probably most fondly remembered for the multiplayer.
Yeah.
Because that's what everybody wanted to do, was get as many friends as you could in the same room, and then just keep switching off or whatever, and have all four of the little teeny tiny fucking corners of your CRT.
Yep.
Dude, your 19-inch CRT never did so much work, bro.
19 inches? That's huge, bro.
It would have been,
13, 14-inch CRT.
I played GoldenEye on many a 13, 14-inch CRTs, but that bitch never worked so hard having to show four people game at the same time. And we actually sat somewhat far away compared to our standards nowadays, too.
I know.
On those little ass screens. Like, you'd have a friend that was in, like, the back of the room, and he'd be murking people.
Yeah, I can't even imagine how we did it. I mean, a good example is, how did I ever play Game Boy? But we did this for GoldenEye, too. It was, even not just the multiplayer, but the single player was so good as well, too.
Yeah, I was gonna say that. It really was.
I mean, it had different difficulties. It was fun to unlock the cheats, and it was a real accomplishment to be able to unlock.
There was extra goals too.
Yeah.
It wasn't like just go in and get to the end of it. Like, that was like, you got something if you did it in a certain amount of time, or you did this or you did that. Like, you unlocked a different cheat. Like you said, like it gave end game value and replay value to every single level in the single player.
Yeah. And unlocking the two secret levels, Aztec and Egypt, were such an accomplishment too. Did you ever unlock the invincibility cheat in Facility on 00 Agent?
I could never do it. I never did it.
Dude, when I finally did it, because I think you had to beat the level and like do all the objectives in 2 minutes or less or something
Yep.
like that.
Yep.
Dude, I remember I did it so many times because the only way you could do that cheat was you had to have, because you had to talk to one of the scientists in order for one of the objectives, and
That's right.
that you had to have the scientist spawn in a certain location in order to even get under 2 minutes. And I remember doing it so many times, and fucking the scientist would not spawn in the correct location. You'd have to turn off the game, start it all over. And dude, I was so happy when I got the invincibility cheat, and then like I barely ever used it because
It's about the chase, right? It's not
yeah,
about the reward from the at the end of the chase. Yeah.
dude,
No, I
probably
remember that, Matt. I mean, I did it a million fucking times too, and I never
yeah,
was able to do it. I think I got bored and tired of it, or I got to the point where I only wanted to play GoldenEye. Because I played it so much alone that if I was gonna play it, it was like because people were over.
yeah, definitely. No, do you remember? I remember the most hated level of that game for me was the control level where you had to
Yeah, I
protect
don't like that
Natalia,
one. Yeah,
and she was just so fucking slow on the computer.
stupid. Oh my god. Yes,
Dude, that
yes.
level was like probably the hardest one too.
Still is. It ain't gotten easier.
Oh god. I see. I want
Games
to.
are harder, dude. Back in the day,
I
even
want to
Nintendo
go back and
64
play
level.
that too.
Well, let me know, man. You pick up a 64, definitely hook you up with that, or you can emulate it. I mean,
Yeah.
do you have
Yeah.
a Wii?
Probably.
You have a Wii. Is
Yep.
your Wii soft modded?
Um. No. No, it's not actually.
Just soft modded. It'll take you 15 minutes, and you can play it on there. The emulator is
True.
actually pretty good for 64.
True. But yeah, I mean, what more can be even said about GoldenEye? It was a game of a generation. It was, I mean, I know we're circle jerking it here, but it really was like if you didn't grow up playing this like we did, it was an amazing game for.
Nah, it deserves the reach around, bro. You can circle jerk it some more.
But I mean, single player was great. Multiplayer was fantastic. I mean,
Remember
it.
paintball mode?
Oh, dude, that was probably one of my favorite cheats. Like, I don't know how many, penises and fucks I would draw with paintball mode.
Dude, how many games did you play where you didn't even bother shooting your friend, where you guys would just be drawing stupid shit,
Yeah,
or like trying to talk
exactly.
to each other? Yeah. Oh, good shit, man. Good shit. But no odd job, you cheating fuck.
Yeah, no odd job. He was, dude. I can remember like how buggy that game was too.
It's
Where,
not. It's not the greatest. No.
like I can remember like some levels bugging out so crazy. Fuck, I don't even remember what, but it's, yeah. I just remember a bunch of bugs in that game. And oh, one of my favorite bugs in that game where the level where you get the watch laser,
Yep.
you can make James Bond get 3 hands or 3 arms, where it's something where because he uses the watch laser with 2 hands,
Okay. I didn't
and
know this. I'm looking it up right now. I didn't
and
even know this.
you'd have to switch to the watch laser weapon, then quickly switch to one of the guns, and he'll show up with 3 hands. I wonder if you can. I wonder if you can look it up.
I
Golden
didn't even know. Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's well documented. That's
three
crazy.
arms.
Holy shit. James Bond using 3 hands in GoldenEye.
Okay, so I wasn't crazy.
You could use them all?
Yeah, you could use the laser and the other gun.
He's got the watch laser and the Moonraker laser
Yep.
out right now on the video I'm watching. Oh, I'm gonna get a
Yeah,
seizure from the CRT though.
I'm watching the same video too
Oh,
right now. God, this game brings back memories, bro.
it
Holy
does,
shit.
bro. And he didn't even have to aim down for that guy.
Nope.
Oh my god. Did you ever play the the reboot, I guess is what you would call it, on the Wii?
Yeah, it wasn't too bad. I mean, it wasn't as good. The single player was very Call of Duty esque, where it
Oh
was
yeah.
very linear. But the multiplayer was actually pretty fun. I mean, it wasn't as good as the 64, but multiplayer was decent. I mean,
It didn't hit that itch though. It didn't do
no, it
what?
didn't.
No, it really
But
didn't.
it was decent. I wouldn't. I mean, it was
Did
decent.
you
That's
finish
about
it?
it. No, I never beat the game. The story, they changed so much of the story that I was getting pissed off with it that I didn't even give a shit.
Yeah. Yeah, you're, oh my God, you're preaching to the fucking choir. I know. I did finish it though, because like I felt like I had to, because I didn't have enough of that bullshit until I was probably
Yeah.
about 3/4 of the way through, and I knew I played through it. But yeah, good stuff, man. GoldenEye 007. A lot of seriously, like everybody does not understand how much they have to think nowadays, or not think, but where shit has come from, and so much of it is because of GoldenEye, man. It is
very true.
absolutely.
So next on our list here is another 64 game that, I mean, I guess it was popular for us, but I guess it doesn't really stand the test of time as much compared to GoldenEye, and that'd be Turok, the dinosaur hunter.
So like the people that had the game knew that it was cool and fun and rad, but
Yeah.
if you didn't have the game, there was like no talking anybody into it, and they didn't get it. But Turok, especially for that platform, is dude, it was cool. I mean, the draw distance is for shit. You can't see but 10 feet in front of you. But I don't know. Maybe it's no worse than GoldenEye, right?
Yeah,
Graphically.
probably. I think GoldenEye is probably slightly better, but not by much.
I mean, you could swim in Turok. That was cool. I forgot about that. I'm watching a video of it now. That's right. You can swim. It was cool. You got some merc fucking dinosaurs. I mean, what's new right now that's doing this is what, Horizon Zero Dawn?
Oh,
Like they're
and
still making games.
Monster Hunter.
Monster Hunt, excellent shit. Yeah, I mean, they're still making games like this. So, we don't have to go too much into Turok, but I could even see it being somewhat fun trying to play through and figure it out nowadays.
Yeah, I only played the first one. I never played Turok 2, and I've never played any other games past that, like the GameCube and
Oh,
all
I
that.
didn't play any of those either. I played the first one and the second one on 64. I didn't touch any of those either. Yeah.
And it was an enjoyable game. I only rented it. I never actually had it. But it was a good, fun rental for the weekend at the time.
That would be a solid rental actually too, because you could play a fuckload of it in a weekend and definitely get a good feel for it and get a good fill.
No, so it was a fine game. It was fun. And that game came out before GoldenEye did, if I remember correctly.
Did it come out before? Did it?
I think so.
It might have. It might have.
We can look it up here.
Yeah, I think we have the internet. Turok in 64 came out. It just says 97 here. What did GoldenEye?
It says March 4th, 1997, and GoldenEye.
August 25th, 1997. So it did.
Oh, so slight different. I mean,
but
not
it
too
did.
far apart. But
Holy
at the time
shit.
when you were a kid, that felt like such a long time.
Oh, it might as well have been 10 fucking years, man.
Yeah, pretty much. So yeah, Turok, it's a good game. Like I said, I feel like it definitely didn't get as much love because as we see here, GoldenEye came out a few months later, pretty much, and pretty much dwarfed Turok completely.
Wiped it from existence.
Yeah.
The Turok 2, they tried to revive it a little bit. It did require the expansion pack, so it did. They probably moved a few copies because of that. Graphics are better. What? Which isn't really true. It just upped the frame rate and improved the draw distance by two more extra feet. But I'm sure they moved some extra copies because of that.
Yeah. So next on our list here is we've got Star Wars Dark Forces. I don't know. Have you ever played this?
I don't really know too much about this, Matt. I was actually looking it up.
So it's when you look at the graphics, it's essentially Doom graphics.
Okay.
And it's a game that takes place. This is actually the original Rogue One. It's actually the very first game that has Kyle Katarn in it. One of my favorite Star Wars characters that Disney just said "fuck you" to, because Disney hates everybody that's not a real Star Wars fan.
They do what they want, Matt. Okay, they got
I
billions of dollars. All right.
I know, but it was the first game starring Kyle Katarn, and it shows how he stole the Death Star plans. And it's essentially a game where you go from place to place.
So it is Rogue One. Holy shit.
It's essentially Rogue One. And you're trying to get the plans back to the rebels, and it plays exactly like Doom. It's a little bit harder than Doom in some parts, but it's pretty
from
much Doom.
95.
Yeah.
Jesus. So it's that you say it plays like Doom, so it's not polygons. It's going to be flat essentially.
Yeah.
Sprites and shit, scaling and everything. Oh, I'm looking at it. You know, it's kind of it's got full motion cutscenes and shit. Yeah. You know what? It really reminds me more of Wolfenstein, kind of, actually.
Yeah.
Which is splitting hairs, if we're honest.
Yeah, but it definitely plays more like Doom when you do play it, though.
No, you know, the more I watch, I think you're right. Was it id ID?
No,
No, LucasArts.
LucasArts.
Wow, remember them?
Oh yeah, they're not even around anymore. Shit.
Disney shut them down when they, or did they get? I think they got shut down when Disney got them.
Or EA dissolved them or some shit.
Some shit, yeah. They got dissolved through some type of a buyout for sure.
Yeah, but it's a fun game. If you're a hardcore Star Wars fan and you want to experience the adventures of Kyle Katarn, because eventually Kyle Katarn becomes a Jedi, because he's at first a smuggler like Han Solo, then he becomes a Jedi and works with Luke Skywalker to start up the Jedi Academy. But then Disney sees all that and just says, fuck you, we're going to make, Luke Skywalker a titty-sucking old man.
Oh, and they did.
Yeah.
They took all the life away from him.
He sucks alien titties for a living, so...
He sucks alien titties and he stabs fucking sea monsters and fucking cooks them.
Yeah.
What a life.
Yeah, instead of, But anyways, we're not here to talk about Star Wars.
I know. This game, Star Wars Dark Forces, I'm getting sick watching the video because it's got the Doom head bob.
Yeah. It was easier to play when I was a kid, but when I try to play it now, I can't do it.
Oh, we could tolerate that shit. Dude, you could play that shit as a kid while you were spinning around on like a computer chair, like chugging Mountain Dew and chocolate milk. Like, and you'd be fine. Yeah. Go about your day. Now I'm like, somebody says the word head bob and I fucking throw up in my mouth.
Pretty much, yeah. Like, I can't play BioShock because of it. And I want to play the BioShock games so bad, but I can't do it.
Can you not turn it off?
No, there's no way to turn it off.
Shit.
And it sucks.
Okay.
But, anyway, so let's go on to probably one of my favorite shooting games ever.
I'm with you. I'm with you. Me too.
And... even though you may consider this blasphemy, but I consider this higher than GoldenEye 007. The main reason because of what it spawned. If it wasn't for this game, we would have never had so many other games because of it.
Counter-Strike Go, you mean?
Counter-Strike, Team Fortress. Those are the two big ones.
What we're talking about is Half-Life.
Half-Life. So before this game, the biggest thing that Half-Life brought to it was not only a story that it actually told while you were playing the game, because you got to remember, the story with first-person games was always told before the game actually started or after the level ended, where it would just be like a bunch of text. So
that's a great point. Yep.
Half-Life actually showed the story happening in front of your eyes, and there weren't quote-unquote levels per se. It was all one continuous game. It just kept on going. It never stopped you to, like, go to the next level, so to say.
Like one long take, like God of War does that.
Yep.
Okay.
Very similar to that. So, and Half-Life, it spawned so many games, because the great thing about this game was you could mod the hell out of it too.
And they did, and we did.
Oh yeah. Oh,
yep.
Dude, I would especially Team Fortress, when there'd be times in my life where I wouldn't have internet because we were poor.
Sure.
I scripted bots to play in Team Fortress so I could, pretend to play multiplayer and all that.
Oh my God, did you really?
Yep.
That's some talented ass shit, dude.
I mean, it wasn't
Wow,
really,
I never took it to that level. That's fucking awesome.
It wasn't really that hard. I just found a guide on how to do it and just copy and pasted everything, but the cool thing was, like, I would create the bots and give them quote unquote personalities, and I'd make them, some tougher, some some weaker, and have them say shit to you too, like have them talk shit to you, which was pretty
Whoa.
funny. Yeah.
You're blowing my mind right now, dude. That's fucking cool.
I wish I remember. I don't even remember how to do any of that anymore, but it was something that I remember we did. And so Half-Life's about Gordon Freeman, where he, works basically in Area 51. We'll just call it that. And,
That's a good way to put it. Yeah,
and then
like experimental type
Yeah.
shit, underground, hidden, hush hush.
yeah, and basically he opens up a portal to another world, and aliens come out and start wrecking shit. The Marines come and try to kill everybody, including the scientists. And one thing I loved about this game was there were 2 expansions that came out, Opposing Forces and Blue Shift, which take place during Half-Life but different points of view. Opposing Forces takes place, you're playing the Marines' point of view.
Right.
And Blue Shift is the security guards' point of view, which are, just...
I'm totally aware of that, but I never did it though.
Opposing Forces I find harder than actually Half-Life, and Blue Shift was so easy. It was kind of cool to play it, but it was one of those you play it once and you never have to play it again. It just wasn't very good. It didn't have much replay value.
This game, looking at it, it's like if when they made GoldenEye, if they had more power, this is what it would look like though. Like, cause it's got like the laser trip mines and the, like it's kind of cool. I'm watching a full playthrough. I'm skipping through it, and man, I want to play this game, dude. I love this fucking game.
No, it's a really good game. Like I said, the multiplayer, it spawns so many games with it, and especially with its engine. What are some of the other games? I mean, Deathmatch. What's that Tron-looking game? It starts with an R. I can't remember.
Fuck, I know exactly what you're talking about too.
Like you throw boomerangs or shit at other people. Dude, one of my favorite mods of it was, it was a scientist killing mod where it was just basically a mod where they would come up with the most creative ideas on how to kill the scientists from the game of Half-Life.
Ricochet,
yes. Even though it was pretty terrible, but it was still fun to play. Day of Defeat came because of Half-Life.
Yep.
The World War II mod. Counter-Strike, obviously.
What we need to say that, again, if you're listening to this, this is absolute, like, duh, no shit, shut up, Butler. But Valve, this is their baby, and Valve is Steam.
Yeah.
Is Steam, Matt.
I know, and Valve fucking gives no shits about Half-Life. They give no shits about making games, period, now.
Well, why? They have a license to print money with a game distribution service called
know.
Steam, which, by the way, when I heard they were going to call it that, I thought it was brilliant. I don't know why, but I was like, oh, that's pretty smart.
Yeah, it's
when they went from Valve to Steam,
I mean, they're still called Valve, but it's
they still have it, but they still, that's like, I guess that's like the corporation or whatever, but it's not, they don't make shit. They don't make games.
No.
They made one of the greatest games ever, Half-Life,
and they didn't.
And they got a bunch of money.
They didn't even
finish it.
No.
They got a bunch of money, and they're like, you know what's cool? Making games and making money is cool, but you know what's cooler? Just selling other people's games and making money.
No, making money is way cooler than making games. No, so you know the story behind them not making Half-Life 3, right? Like what happened?
I mean, I've heard so many different things, and just everybody bitches about it. Is there an official story?
Well, I mean, not really an official story. So one of the writers of Half-Life 1 and 2, I think he either got let go or he retired or something. Something happened, and so a few months after that happened, he has a personal website, and he released a blog basically talking about what would have happened in Half-Life 3 had they made the game. But he couldn't call any of the characters in his blog the official names for fear of getting sued.
Right. But, yeah.
I mean, it's very
so
obvious.
they just probably sold it off as like hearsay then, essentially.
Yeah, because it's very obvious what he's talking about in that blog, and I'll have to find it and link it to you. But it's it's so sad. Basically, he's come out, and he hasn't really come out and said it so much because he can't really talk about what exactly happened, but he basically said they were working on it, but they just were letting people go left and right, and Steam took way more precedence than anything else. And
well, I mean, so in their defense, right? Like, think about it this way: they hit they hit essentially the proverbial lottery with Half-Life. Like, think about how many people, how many even just companies with shitloads of money, how many developers make games, and it's really hard to judge what's going to be the next big thing or what's going to catch on, at least, right? But if you're making money off of every game, whether it's one of those or not, I mean, that's if you're a business and you're in it to make money, I mean, that's the fucking move, isn't it? And it was really ahead of its time because, look, I mean, you got Microsoft scrambling right now to try to gear up and do something like this because they're so fucking late to the game, which Microsoft is not going to do it. Everybody knows, aside from Windows, they can't do fucking anything right.
I know.
But it's interesting, though, to point out, that one of the greatest PC games ever made, or even games, as far as first-person shooters go, is what funded and started where you buy all your fucking PC games at.
Yeah, and it's never going to be finished because fuck you. That's why.
Yeah, I don't know. Didn't they recently say some shit, too, about how they don't really have any interest, or there's been no, forward movement with game development?
Something like that, because even when you look at their active games, Dota 2 and Counter-Strike Go, it's all just maintenance type shit.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing drastically been redone on those for fucking years, man.
Yeah, pretty much. So yeah, let's just move on before I get sad and want to cry.
Well, let's not upset Zuby anymore. The next one you want me to take, because I don't think you knew much about it.
I've never played this game.
So if you're a ID Software fanboy from the 90s, you may know about this, but it's a little game called Shadow Warrior. It's essentially came out, I believe, right after Duke Nukem 3D. It's very similar. It's pretty cool. You got these little sticky bombs. It was the first game that I ever played where you had grenades that you could throw and they would stick to things. They actually had spikes on them, though, which was kind of a cool thing to show up early on in the first-person shooter genre. It's pretty cool little game.
Was it a PC only game?
Yeah, it's PC. Well, honestly, let me check. I don't know that it was ported to anything. I played it on PC, and I think I got it for $10 a year after it was out or something. I remember my buddy telling me about him and his dad played it or some shit. I don't see that it's so. All right, platforms: MS-DOS, Mac OS, iOS,
Xbox One.
So they must have done.
They must have remade it or something.
There's a remake of it, yeah.
Oh, okay.
So no. So the one I'm speaking of from 1997 is, that's it essentially. It's cool. It's not polygons or anything, but it is first person. It plays exactly like Duke Nukem. One thing it did add is you got kind of melee weapons. I don't know. Is that the first time in '97? It might have been one of the early melee weapons you got in the first person. You'd had your samurai sword, and you could cut dudes.
Chainsaw or something.
Yeah, because that's true. You did have the chainsaw in Doom.
Yeah.
But it was kind of cool. If you look at it or look at videos, you're gonna go, oh my god, this is Duke Nukem, and I assure you, it's not. It's a little bit of a different story. It's really gruesome, a lot of blood, I remember, but definitely cool. You can't talk about first-person shooters on the PC from the 90s and at least not mention it. I'm not going to beat that one up since it's a lesser known, but it's there. Check it out.
It doesn't look too bad. I mean, that could be something I could probably pick up and play. I see it's on Steam, unless that's the new one it's talking about.
I don't know. I'm looking it up right now.
Okay, yeah, this looks like the newer one.
Classic Redo, they call it. So it is the same game, but it's going to be polygons, so it doesn't count. So that's a damn shame. You have to have an old fucking PC to play it.
That sucks.
That sounds like a lot of effort.
Yeah, way too much effort.
It's like a whole big thing.
Oh wait, no, they got the Shadow Warrior Classic Redux.
Yeah, but
$10.
But isn't that gonna be really? It's gonna make me put my fucking date of birth in.
Yeah, because bro, you can't handle that shit.
Because it's 97 blood. Like, dude, I'd love that shit. How they freaking
So Shadow Warrior Classic on 97, they say it's free on Steam.
But I see it. Where? It's $10. Shadow Warrior Classic Redo, $9.99.
No. It's just called Shadow Warrior Classic.
Stand by.
Shit, I'm gonna download this on
Oh my
Steam.
god, it's holy shit, dude! Getting it. No, add to cart. Why is it?
Shit, that's Blizzard, not Steam.
Shadow Warrior Classic Redo. When I clicked on the one that said Shadow Warrior Classic, it's only giving me the option to get the Redo one, or the Redux.
That's so lame.
Yeah, I'm not paying $10. Damn, I got really excited for a minute, dude.
No, hold on. I'm gonna see if I can find it on the Steam store. The Steam store. Steam store. Yeah, that sounds really weird right now. Steam store.
The Half-Life store. The Half-Life store. The Counter-Strike store.
Yeah, I found it. Free to play.
Why can't I find it? Oh, Classic 97 free to play. My bad. There it is. I got it. Getting it now.
Downloading it. I'm definitely gonna check it out because it doesn't look too bad. I mean, yeah, it looks dated, but it looks interesting enough.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's 438 megs the whole game.
Holy fuck.
Yeah.
I can't handle that.
You sounded like fucking Ricky from Trailer Park Boys the way you said "holy fuck." That was awesome. Cool. Well, now you get to check it out. Like, it's like a fresh Duke Nukem type game for you, Matt, to check out. And I'm downloading it too. I'm gonna play that shit too. This is cool. I'm glad we talked about this game because I would have never known that.
Oh, that's awesome.
Oh yeah, you can rip motherfuckers' hearts out and shit. Yeah, that's good times. We just got a couple left. Let's see here. Let's see. The next one is South Park on the Nintendo 64. Matt.
Oh God, talk about freaking. Oh shit. I know I played the single player. We played multiplayer way more than anything on this, but I don't remember the single player that much except for the piss snowball and throwing it at turkeys, I think it was.
Yeah, you kind of ran through like sections of the town and stuff and had like different bullshit objectives and stuff like that. It's been a while. I actually have it. I don't really need to fire it up, but yeah, I remember it was a first person shooter. I remember, yeah, the turkeys were a thing. It's kind of shitty. I think we kind of put it on here just to put it on here because it was from that era.
Yeah.
Probably terrible graphics even for the 64 at the time. Like, nothing to talk about there.
Yeah. I just remember the multiplayer being a lot of fun though. That's I don't remember too much about this except playing multiplayer with my buddies.
I don't even know if I ever really played that multiplayer now that you mention it. I don't think anybody that even would play it with me.
I mean, it was just pretty much the same as GoldenEye. I mean, not the same as GoldenEye, but just, get up to 4 players and just
around the same.
Each other.
Yeah. Let's see. So I'm looking at it now. Interesting. Okay, so interesting South Park game fact. Basically, the only game that Trey and Matt had any input on whatsoever was Stick of Truth. Did you know that?
Really? They had nothing to do with this one?
No, they didn't want to either, but it was part of their licensing deals and stuff. They actually have talked about it a couple different times, but the first time they were personally involved in creating games for South Park was Stick of Truth.
Oh, shit.
So, interesting fact. Not that they weren't unofficially licensed or blessed by them, but they didn't have any part in the creation or the say-so or any of that. And they probably could have, I don't know, but they didn't. So, good to know. I mean, that being said, I mean, with the voices and stuff that they added into this game, for especially being on Nintendo 64, it was pretty cool. It was pretty edgy, pretty funny. Everything had to be swears and cuss words back then to be cool.
Yeah, the show was so popular, when we were kids and all that this was the first game that even came out, and so it was definitely, you wanted to play it if you were a fan.
It was South Park,
Yeah.
It was, you didn't know if it was good or bad. It was South Park,
Yeah, which is true of many games back in our day. We didn't know if it was good or bad.
So the last thing that we got here was the Alien trilogy and the Alien vs. Predator games. Matt, did you ever play any of these?
So I never played them on the console. I know I played them on PC though with my buddies, and it was just a lot of fun. And there'd be obviously like free for all game modes, but there'd also be game modes where you'd have to. I think it'd be like you'd have to kill the other teams because there'd be 3 factions you could be: the humans, the predators, and the aliens.
Right. Yep.
And I loved being the aliens and just trying to sneak around and freaking murk, especially the humans. And you'd think the humans would be the weakest, but no, even they could be pretty strong though. And I just remember just having a blast with it. I never played any of the single player or anything. It was only multiplayer.
Yeah, that seemed to be the move back then too.
What about you?
So I didn't play too much of it on the PC, and what's interesting is I did play the Alien trilogy on PS1, and what was really cool about that was that it was a first-person 3D shooter on the PS1, and it was very, very early on in the console, so that really didn't exist. And at the time, I don't remember if I was like in between computers or what, but I know all I had to play on at the time was my PS1, and I didn't have any way to play Doom or any of those types of things. So my buddy actually had this game, and he never played it, so I would borrow it from him. And I played the Alien trilogy. It's actually a fucking completely terrible game, if I'm honest. I would not recommend it. There's no replay value. It wasn't good back then. It was always dirt cheap. They were practically giving it away. But it was a first-person shooter, 3D, on the PS1, and that was something in itself to say. I had I think Twisted Metal, which was third-person with cars, so it wasn't quite the same, But cool nonetheless, and worth mentioning for sure. You got to show a little bit of love to the PlayStation for first-person shooters, since it had not really the best history with them.
Yeah, that was definitely a console where I definitely did not play a lot of first-person shooters at all.
Third-person stuff, but yeah, it wasn't its thing to do first-person. That's for sure.
No. It was mainly an RPG console for me.
I completely agree.
With some Resident Evil thrown in, and yeah, like you said, third-person shit, Metal Gear Solid, and all that.
Yep.
And so that concludes our list. Anyone out there that wants to reach out and maybe, tell us about a game that they played back in the 90s that, we may have missed. And I mean, I know there's a lot of first-person games we missed on the list and it's mainly because we didn't play them,
For sure. Yeah. And we tried to pick on some of the popular ones and some of the lesser knowns that we both might have played. But let us know if there's something we should check out. It's kind of crazy, and I think the takeaway from this is be aware of what came from, everything you play now kind of came from these, and I think that was what was fun about us to kind of approach this topic.
Yeah, definitely. It's always interesting to go back and look at the history of genres, and I mean, I can see us doing this again with even like RPGs and platforming and hell, even sports games if we wanted to, but
there's good ones, man, but
Madden NFL 95, 98.
Fuck that, dude. Tecmo Bowl. Super Tecmo Bowl, dude.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. No. But yeah, man. All
right, so where can people find you?
You can find me on Twitter. I think officially it's at Killabeez 2T, KILLABEEZZ, the number 2 and then the letter T. But it let me mess with my name on there, and you can actually get me at Killabeez, KILLABEEZZ. So we will update that info. You can also find me with some version of Killa Bees on the gaming console shit. DM me on Twitter and I'll send you my actual gaming tag if you want to play, because I can't be bothered. Matt, where can they find you?
They can find me on Twitter at Zubatron, Zubatron. They can also find me on my other podcast, that's Magic with Zuby. That can be found on iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, and TuneIn Radio, and YouTube. Same places where this podcast can be found as well.
That's right.
This podcast can be found on Twitter at VCR Gaming. You can find us on Facebook at facebook.com/VCR Gaming, on Instagram at VCR Gaming. You can also email us at gmail at vcrgamingpodcast@gmail.com. And our website, our official website, is vcrgamingpodcast.com.
There you go.
That was a lot.
I know it is. It's a lot. It's a lot. Tell your friends too that VCR does not mean VHS. A lot of people, not a lot of people. We've actually got some feedback on that. It's vintage, current, retro. It's a play on some old tech.
Yeah,
but if we were talking about those games, they'd be VHS games, not VCR games.
Yeah, we don't play VHS games, which God, I have not done in like forever.
Oh my God! Did you ever see like the kids one that had like the little like the red and the green button? You had two buttons to interact with. Yeah. No, that is not us. We play real games.
Yeah. So I guess that about does it. All right. I guess everybody out there listening, have a great night.
Thank you, everybody, and we'll catch you guys next week.